MAU Spinelli Field ad hoc committee meeting started. First item on the agenda is public comments. Not seeing anyone here from the public for comments.
Yeah, so just for the record, Richard Bump is connected via Zoom, as is Cat TV. Those are the only other participants that are remote.
Okay, the second item is minutes from the January 12th meeting. I don't think those were attached to the agenda, so I didn't review them. I don't know. I don't think we have to accept them. It doesn't say anything about like accepting them, but it's on here. I didn't see it on the email, so I was confused why that was on there. Did we ever have to accept minutes before? I don't think we've ever done that as a committee.
Typically, you would as a committee, but if they weren't part of the agenda, I would just table it.
Okay, so I'll leave that. So the next item on the agenda is reviewing the public survey results. That's what I have up on the big screen. As you all know, we, I put a background in here. You all developed some great questions that we put out. Katie West did an amazing job. I'll have to send her a thank you, but she helped me design and put it out on the digital survey via Google Forms. We started it on February 3rd, closed comments and responses on March 10th. We distributed it online mainly, so there's that link. So it was posted on social media, mainly Facebook, but it was also on Instagram and Twitter. The district website, as it came up, as the website came up, the link was there. So anyone that went to the website was able to see it. The Bennington Banner did a nice job putting the QR code. There were posters around town. And I had reached out to Jonas Vivek of the town of Bennington, and he was able to share the posters at the Bennington Senior Center and at the Rec Center. And he also had hard copies at those locations. Other ways, as a statistics teacher, try to worry about bias in our polling. I didn't want to have it completely online because people without computers or not tech savvy would be hindered from taking the survey. So anyone that required or asked for, they had my email. I had one person reach out with technical difficulties, but they were able to take the survey when they reached out. We did receive 5 paper copies, so there were some paper copies. So total, we had 499 people respond to the survey. I thought that was a pretty good turnout for a little over a month. When we had the election for the special election, it was just over like 1,200. So it was good for the survey. Let's take a look at why we're here for the results. So first question was about where in town do you reside? You can see kind of fits our breakout for the Mount Anthony district, Bennington being the largest, and then, the smaller wedges, the Shasberry, North Bennington, and Woodford. So I think it was a decent breakout. I mean, that's my interpretation of it. The next question was, what phrase best describes you? Some of those were pre-filled. You just checked the box. There was an other option, which allowed you to answer other. And computers being binary, you can see if someone used in that upper corner there, grandparents with a capital G and grandparent with no S at the end with a lower G, it didn't combine those. So, so again, all those little wedges you see there, those are like less than 1% of something. But, you can see, I guess I wasn't surprised by the results, but it was good to see it wasn't overwhelmingly just being parents responding. 38% was the biggest wedge of school-age children, adult children, just under that at 30%. But having 13% no children was a good response to see as well. So again, I think we got a wide range, and you can see 10% were students took the survey. So again, I think we got a good mix in that demographic. And then the age range, I was really impressed that we were able to get a wide range of ages.
Good.
It wasn't, all over. So I thought that was nice to see a good distribution. So I think we were able to get, not just one target audience. It wasn't just athletes. I was almost surprised to see that the largest wedge was only, I think, 15%?
Yeah, about 45.
Yeah, that 45 to 49 range. Those are probably parents of the high school students, but, a little younger and a little older. But to see that the the wedge from I think we had just as many respondents over 70 as we did under 18. Give or take, actually, we had more over 70 than we did under 18. So nice job, people that shared this. I know everyone on here shared it as much as they could, but also throughout social media and the public, there was a lot of buzz. So that was good. Now to get to the questions. The first question was, again, thank you all for compiling questions. There was a lot of duplicate style questions. You guys all did a great job coming up with, I think, some good questions. So thank you, committee members. But Spinelli Field is in need of repair and upgrade. So tried not doing binary questions, that yes or no. They were in that response of 5 to 1, strongly agree all the way down to somewhat disagree. So overwhelmingly, 67% strongly agree and 16% somewhat agree. So people that are in favor, if you combine those two, was roughly almost 80%, just over 80. So that's pretty good to see. And then even neutral, 6%, they don't care one way or the other. So overwhelmingly, almost 70%, and then another 75. So 25% that still a wedge, but not a bad result to see. Next question, the track, Zimianic track is in need of repair and upgrade. Similar results. Was kind of surprised that it was, if you go back a little less strongly. So I think that is, as Coach can probably attest to, driving by on County Street, it looks nice. It looks dark.
Right.
Walking it, I think, we'll have to, convince some people on why the track is in as much need of a repair, if not more, than the field. But similar results, over 75% either agree or somewhat agree. This question was kind of surprised by the results that this wasn't higher, but the facilities need upgrades to be more accessible for people with disabilities. So the compliance with the Americans with Disability Act. And again, similar number, 75%. Again, people have responses, but about 10% felt they disagreed with that. Again, same thing, that maybe they've never been in the situation with having to access facilities, but 75% is strongly in favor. Resurface track is in need of a project. Again, similar results. Being at, most of these are at 70-something%. New lighting is a needed project for Mount Anthony. Again, we're at sorry, I'm just getting a message. Again, 70% with lighting. Strongly disagree, 10%. Again, I think this is where I don't want to ignore that those are low numbers. It's almost 15% or 16%, just over, that disagree. I think when we have to do our outreach to the public, when you're against something, you're going to make sure you go and vote.
But I think that they don't understand why.
That's what I mean.
Maybe they walk by, they see bright lights, but they don't
Yeah, the lights work.
understand.
Yeah.
They work. Yeah.
I think
Sometimes they do when I turn them on.
yeah. So I think these are when we later. I'm getting ahead of ourselves on the agenda, but later on we decide to do some of those town hall meetings.
Yeah.
These are things that we have to think about. We can't just say, hey, everyone wants it, let's move on. We have to educate.
Absolutely.
Those lights. I remember before they redid the electrical box last summer. You could hear it ready to pop, right, Tony? Like you could, it was scary at times,
You used to have to put a fan on.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say that
Cool.
in the public.
It's all right. It's not like that anymore.
No, it's not. It's been fixed,
Yeah.
which is good. But even then, the lights that go out, the energy efficiency, there's so many reasons we can talk about how much we would save just by putting all this. Yeah, and then exactly, that's the number one reason, the equitable for small ball. So those are things we need to, again, I'm almost surprised 15% disagree. So that was good. Synthetic turf is a needed project. So, that's different from, is the project needed? A lot, we saw 75%. Synthetic turf was a very specific question, and I don't remember who asked that. But nice job, pinpointing that turf was different than the project. It's the first time strongly agreed dropped below 50, but overall, we're at 65%. Still feel turf is the needed project. But it's the largest wedge for strongly disagree. So there are 20% that feel turf is not the needed project. So again, we can't ignore there is a population,
But then again, I think those are like when we do those town halls, or we do those walkthroughs, that's them
Yeah.
understanding that it's not that we wouldn't prefer
Yep.
grass, it's just not viable.
And that was the conversation I had, it was, why was it good? And then I explained the playability, I explained the extended playability, the lacrosse teams, all the jamborees we got, and the light bulb went off, and he's like, makes sense.
The next is the level of concerns. So this was the next set of questions about, what concerns people had. And this was the playing surface being made synthetic material. So again, unconcerned, 30%.
Very young.
Very unconcerned was 30%, unconcerned 24%. So 54%, unconcerned. And another 22% neutral. So again, what's the, what are their concerns? And if we can get at that, would be helpful. The rate of injuries on synthetic fields. This is kind of almost even split between unconcerned or very unconcerned and neutral, or almost even. And again, I think there were 499 total responses. You didn't have to answer every question, but every question had over 490 respondents. So some people did ignore some questions versus putting in neutral. So I think having information about, injuries on turf versus grass, we've had those conversations as a committee. We know that, we've done that research as a committee. It's getting that research out there. I will say from now until this project is done with, for the high school level, there's no safer playing surface than a consistent level turf field.
And again, my colleagues who have turf at the high school level, they are more than willing to share their reports too about there have not been significant injuries due to the changeover to turf.
Yeah.
It's just.
Those would be good.
Yep.
To have for the town hall.
Yeah.
And not even a bad idea to maybe have one of them come.
Yeah.
Well, they're willing.
At a
They're,
town hall.
they're
They are
willing to
willing,
come down. Yeah.
we had testimonials from, I think, every Vermont high school that has a turf field about the reasons. So those are things, again, we compile for, and if some of them are willing, I know Dave Maselli would probably be,
Mike Norman
Yeah.
offered to come down.
come down and meet with people, so,
Hey, they want us to have it just as much as.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right, exactly.
Right.
and
When they come here and play.
it's for the same
Yeah.
reasons, and the number one reason is
They don't want their people getting hurt on our
or they
field.
don't want to have to reschedule a game because a field is drenched,
Right.
just trying to reschedule any event for an athletic director is not an easy thing. So,
Right.
level concern here was the school budget. So here, some similar results, the very concerned, 20% on the school budget, and then another 37% either very concerned or concerned, and similar numbers, unconcerned and very concerned is 37%. So that neutral, why are they neutral? They don't care, or they don't know. Again,
Or they don't pay taxes.
yeah, well, yeah, that too. I think again, it's a lot of these showed me that there are people that, we're not all like-minded, not everyone's gonna agree with the way we think, and that people just, we need to get all the info out there. When you hear $3 million, that's scary. I completely understand $3 million is scary. What does that impact on your budgets? People don't want to hear $3 million. People want to hear, what is my tax bill going up? If I have a, $200,000 home or $100,000 home, is my tax bill going to go up? How much is it going to go up? I think if we can get those numbers out to people, or I actually, someone put it to me this way, if you were to cut the same amount out of the budget, how much would their tax bill go down? And it's like, not that you would notice, you wouldn't notice going down. So when you notice it going up, I guess is the way I was like, that's a good way to look at it. All right, there was the last part. There was what other community partners, events, activities would you like to see utilize our complex other than school events? There were some pre-filled ones there. Unfortunately, there was an other option and I cut those off, you know, as any social media can be. So there was obviously some inappropriate things that people listed. But these were the pre-filled ones. And you can see the number one, you know, they're all similar, but it was nice to see that, you know, Special Olympics, you know, 82%.
Yeah.
I think, you know, they used it a lot pre-COVID. They were up there all the time. And I think, you know, you see Relay for Life. I know they're already planning that. It's going to be at the high school again this year, right, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know, you know, if we can have, you know, better facilities for those type of events. I think semi-pro, people, I don't realize the options for soccer semi-pro, along with, you know, the Storm and other leagues, you know, there's a lot of options here. So, and these are, some of those are revenue generating. Some are obviously, just using it as a community member.
And revenue generating not only for the school, but for like the community, because that brings people into restaurants and
Yeah.
shop and stuff.
So clearly there was some suggestions there. And then there was, oh, I didn't put the slide yet. There was an option for other comments or concerns. There was a lot of thank yous, people thanking the committee. I wanted to get that out there. The reason I didn't include it, again, same reason. Some comments that aren't good for public sharing. But you know, some of the comments were, you know, they'd like to see, you know, youth facility, or youth camps, you know, more people using it, the better. You know, that's basically was a lot of the comments. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Questions, I still don't see anyone from the public join, but were there any questions about the survey results? Comments?
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I feel that it's more favorable than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I agree. That was my
I
initial.
also feel like, I think that probably more proponents of this were probably going to fill it out than people who voted no.
Right. I think that could go, anytime you're strongly one way or the other, I
Yeah.
think it gets you out to vote,
Yeah.
but,
I think it tells me that,
but more people want it than don't.
yeah, and I think it also showed with some of those questions and the answers that we really need to think about these town halls and get the information. Invite the public, you know, they don't have to tell us, but they're gonna tell us by their questions, right? You know, whether they're concerned, what are their concerns? Can we address those concerns? Do we have answers for those concerns? We have to be fully prepared for anything that can come our way too,
Yeah.
so, you know, but I think the town halls are gonna be huge. And like I said, the conversation I had with this individual over the weekend, agreed that the town halls would be
Yeah.
fantastic to get the information that I shared with them out to everyone else.
There's a lot of information that needs to be shared, and I would also invite different people to attend these. Like you said, like the other coaches or whatever, other IADs. But I think two schools of thought, I would think it would be great if we could see what like the financial impact is on like Middlebury for when they have the lacrosse. There's got to be, we could probably get those the tax dollars from room and sales to see what that does, that Middlebury tournament.
How much money?
I'm saying, you know, for the
yeah.
town.
I'm sure somebody has it.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, I went for years and years and years.
Yeah.
I camped one year, I stayed in hotels, but I ate for the whole weekend out, you
The
know?
Middlebury, you mean the
For lacrosse,
lacrosse?
yeah.
It's not turf though.
No, I'm just saying.
No.
the-
Oh,
the info-
just bringing the people.
Tournaments there, right?
Yeah,
Because that one's just
Because
been
it does, yeah, it
established for a
brings-
long time,
Right.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was that, and the other thought is maybe bring in that, what's her name? The ortho doctor from Mira, the German lady from the hospital.
Oh, the orthopedics?
Cause she was an athlete.
Yep.
And she would know what it's like.
Oh,
Mira
Yeah, I know.
Schernberger, Very German, Jessica.
Yes,
Schneider Bauer.
Huh?
Schneider Bauer.
Yeah, Schneider Bauer.
Right, hip doctor.
Yeah.
She's the best.
I agreed. I think, it's one thing for us to say, well, we researched this
Right.
and, but I don't play a doctor, actual, experts.
And she could answer
field.
questions and.
and Gutman too is, she's a
Yeah.
pediatric orthopedic.
Yeah,
There.
so agreed. These were people I think we'd like to invite,
They're
maybe to
excellent.
answer
And
questions.
she,
On a
If they're
panel.
willing,
played sports.
if they're willing to
Gutman
come.
was a quarterback.
I know, I had that as our next step, so I think we can maybe put some of these down
Yeah.
after. I think those are all good things. Any other comments, questions? The next thing on the agenda was an update from the superintendent answering questions for legal. So last time we met, we had several questions that we asked Jim and he would check with legal. And he did share a recap with me that I can share with you. The question we had is, can the committee solicit donations? And legal said yes, donations can be solicited for the field if the board agrees to such. The committee cannot make the decision though, to ask for donations on its own. It has to come from the MAU board. So the MAU board would have to take action that grants the committee the ability to seek donations. And then the second question, the clarifying, we don't have to form a nonprofit to solicit the donations. We can do that as is if the board approves it. The next question was, and this came from, I think, Superintendent Colkeen, should we ask for pledges or donations? And legal said they'd like to discuss with Renee, but they believe that keeping the funds collected as a separate line item and account would be the best option. They did say they want to know Renee and opinions from the auditors around whether or not what the under accepted accounting procedures they believe would be the best and how to entail the creation of a separate fund and how that would go. Do you need a board article at an annual meeting to establish a specific fund or not? I don't know all those. I know right now, as coaches, we solicit donations through the board's fundraising policy. We have our form that we submit to the athletic director. We have our own activities accounts. So when someone writes a check to MAU football or MAU track, we have those deposits and it's kept separate. So I didn't know if the field project had to be separate if we're collecting donations. If we're selecting pledges, I think that is the easier route for accounting because we're just keeping track of, people are looking to make a pledge that they have that money or they're gonna make that money, but I will defer to Director Gordon on how she
I'll
wants
stop
to.
working for a
What do you
second.
think is the easiest, best way to create less work for you, but easier for us?
As with any, basically donations that we receive, any of our school districts, if there are like specific intent behind why we're receiving that donation, and it's not gonna be spent within that fiscal year, we set up a separate fund, which is basically just an accounting structure that we have to keep that money isolated so that it doesn't roll into fund balance. We would certainly make sure that we're tracking, who they're coming from, in the event that nothing happens and we need to return, that money, which is gonna become, that would be the more
See, that-
difficult
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's.
Because I would have to get
Yeah.
essentially W-9s from anybody
Everybody.
to build them in as a vendor to then cut them back a check.
Yeah,
So
that,
would pledges be an easier way to go or no?
Well, but then that's the thing, if it's a pledge, what happens if the project doesn't happen for 3 years and you go back to that person and say, hey, okay, we're ready for your
So
pledge, and they're like, oh, well, I
I
have the
don't
money
have it
then,
yet.
but I don't have it now.
So that maybe the way to go about it is not asking money for a turf field, but upgrades to the athletic complex. So if they make that donation to the athletic complex and that money goes to the lights or the track, their money is being spent on the complex and not a turf. So if a turf field never happens, their monies aren't being misspent. They're making a donation towards upgrades of the facilities. Does that make sense? I know it's probably
Yeah, it makes
legal
sense, but you-
wording.
But
Like,
you have to just make sure that it was clarified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and some people might say, hey, I'm not sure about turf, but I definitely want to help with the track, and they might say, and I don't know if that makes different funds for you, but I think, and maybe it's the question for legal before the next MAU meeting is the question, we're soliciting funds for upgrades to the athletic complex. I think we
Which
would.
could
include-
Which could include, yeah.
Yeah, and that could include anything to just maybe, you know, a new fence, you know, sometimes like, you know, they get a little crazy with the snow blower or something, I don't know. But that's my point, I mean, I think if it's upgrades up there, we want to, money is getting spent for those upgrades, which,
Yeah, so I mean, in that, through that vein, if it was, and we were kind of specific as to what those upgrades might be, that fund could kind of exist in perpetuity and that people could continue to donate to it over the years because there will, you know,
be
be
upgrades.
painting that needs to happen, you know,
Or
to a
just the
building or.
renewal of the turf after the 10 to 13 year
Right.
planning, we have to then also, so that's a good point, we could just. So I don't know if I need to entertain a motion, I think, to have someone, one of the board members from this committee reach out to the board chair about putting this as
On the
an
agenda.
agenda for an action item.
I can do that.
Do we have to, we don't have to vote on that stuff as a committee, do we? Can we
No.
just reach out to the chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we
Thank-
talk about bricks?
Well, we could talk about them. I mean, I have them. I should have brought them. I didn't bring them.
So would that fall under
So my,
donations or would that be a fundraiser?
I think it's more of a fundraiser that would go to that, to
Yeah.
Spinelli.
Yep.
So I don't have to, I can pull up the email, hold on. But it's,
Talking about the like engraving.
yeah, they're
engraving.
engraved bricks, kind of, they've been to Riley Ring, you know.
Oh.
You know, they
I
have
was like,
those.
thanks, I didn't know what you were talking about. Okay,
I
yes.
found one company, do a little research, that did a beautiful job. They gave me the samples of the brick. They actually had the MAU logo on them along with, I think 3 lines of words you could write, whatever. And landed, they were under, it's my memory, but they were like under $20, maybe even under $15 landed to us. So and there was 3 different sizes. So one was just a regular brick size and the next one was double that and the next size was double that. And the price structure that I was talking to the company about all made a lot of sense. And some schools have made like $25,000, $30,000 selling these bricks, you know? And I was thinking, you know, for the smaller brick, you chart, like, I was thinking a lot of parents might buy a brick for
Yep.
$99, right?
Mhm.
And then you'd go after smaller businesses in town for the middle-sized brick and then the larger
Yep.
businesses or even people, the big brick, the biggest square. Speaking with my boss, he said we would buy the first big square and we would make a big deal over it and dedicate it to Father Spinelli. So just to get the action going.
Yeah.
I do have a sample. I can bring it to the next meeting and I can bring all the pricing and show it to you. They're super nice people, but everybody I've dealt with, they call me a lot since I.
So I like it. I think that's probably a good fundraiser when when this project gets approved, because it's hard to sell bricks if we don't know if they're not gonna have a project, so this would be a good,
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking too, we could start it, right? And because you can batch out these bricks too, you can get them delivered. Because then we have to think about too, is
Where is it going?
where are they going? And I was thinking like
The path.
behind the bleachers, you know, around, you know.
It's gotta be somewhere seen.
Yeah, but we'd also have to pay for installation. If we don't come.
My first thought is the main walkway.
Right, as you
towards the
pass
ticket
the
booth.
ticket booth, yeah,
Right,
that's
that,
kind of
and
what I was.
I was thinking bigger, hoping we could sell all the way around Spinelli, right? Have a little walkway, that's.
Yeah.
You know,
That would be awesome.
And then-
Walk cars there
And then it can go around
Right,
to the concession.
yeah.
So
Even
even
if
if
we
we
have-
around the concession area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we have to, you know, at some point, we're gonna have to do ADA compliant walkways to get to the field.
this would
You
make
have
that
those
a lot
lining that
easier.
too.
I think it's a great opportunity. I just think, I know myself, like I'd buy a brick, you know, or something, but it's like,
Yeah.
I'd wanna know the project is happening. I think we would
Yeah.
have more, we would sell more knowing, hey, this project's been approved.
I think so too.
We're not gonna fundraise this entire project. So we're gonna need a bond vote. So I think if we get a bond vote approval, or when we get a bond vote approval, then we'll say, okay, now we're also doing this fundraiser.
But I think too that the other side of the fence for the skeptics are gonna, like Jackie Kelly said it one time at a meeting, you know, these kids gotta have some skin in the game. Well, I believe that they should too.
Yeah, I agree.
But we're not gonna get there selling candy bars, that if we started with this and say, Because then we can get a couple of years worth of kids that may or may not buy them, parents who may not, seniors this year. We might be able to get some bricks sold for those seniors that we might miss out on. Maybe we started a little earlier, but then we come up with storage and all that of the bricks, but.
Yeah.
That's a good, because to your point, what you were saying about just making it generic as a complex upgrade.
Mm.
We can do it that way and we can start it this year, because I do agree with you, they may be more inclined right now, especially senior parents who are feeling very nostalgic about the whole situation. I can see them jumping in and wanting to get a brick because their kid's leaving the school or whatever. And then maybe we just approach it as the complex upgrades, which could go towards, lighting or track or whatever,
Or just making the field
maintenance of the booth or whatever.
We could just start it off by saying we're making the field accessible to wheelchairs by raising money for bricks,
So again, I think if we keep it to, like you were saying,
The complex upgrades.
complex upgrades, facility, athletic facility upgrades. So maybe that's what you bring to the, creating the opportunity to seek donations, fundraising. And if the MAU board votes to
Yeah.
agree, then now we look at opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, this makes it in the press and someone says, oh, Mount Anthony's looking for donations. There's several alumni or a couple alumni that, or even businesses that are, in town that say, hey, I'd like to make a donation. I just saw that we're looking at this. So I think once it gets approved, you never know who's gonna say, hey, I wanna be involved in this.
I think the soccer players that passed away that have that plaque, like that they have their alumni every year, I can totally see them doing it.
Yeah.
There's and then even there was a basketball player that passed away just recently. Yeah, and I can see it, and they did a family thing. They have an award now for the girls' basketball. So I can see, it's those families that are really invested in the community that I think.
One, I think once they know that there's been approval, so I really think that's our next step is I know you're all on the board, so if we can get it on the next agenda for the
Yeah.
But don't we-
And I think it will help with
Starting
on the optics of it too, that we're
Yeah.
trying to do something.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I
Fundraising
agree
wise,
100%.
What, are we gonna, well, maybe I'm missing this, and sorry if I am, but this is all great, and I agree with it 100%, but we're not gonna start this until we get a bond vote approved, right? I mean, you're not gonna fundraise and then, oh, wait, would they deny the bond vote, so now we're not gonna do it.
I think we
Am I
could-
wrong?
Well, I think, as you said,
Yeah.
I see both sides of it. That's what I was thinking too, is like, geez, how do we sell bricks and then we never do anything?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You'll have, if
Yeah.
you sell the bricks, you'll have to use them.
Right,
Um,
but we should also prioritize our athletic upgrade needs
Yeah.
too, okay, so that these things
100%.
could
Yeah.
absolutely say, hey, this is first step.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
second step. This is
Right.
what we're
I know
looking
our,
at.
I don't think we'd be installing anything, but we'd be
No.
starting the
Right.
fundraising and
Starting
putting
the
it into whatever
Right.
count is set
And
up.
make it, we can have Katie make up a small fun Facebook group that I got my brick, I got a couple I'll get a couple samples, it'd be fun. Make it fun.
However, we just need to have a plan that those bricks have to go somewhere, if, no matter what, we
Right.
have to get them
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
And
ground.
that's what I
Yeah.
think, and that's where I think,
And I think you
I
can
think
find
people
that.
may be a little more hesitant though, if they don't know
No, the
that this
yeah.
project or a project is going forward, if they're just saying, well, they're selling bricks, but we don't even know if we're gonna go turf, if we're gonna do a track, if we're gonna do I don't know,
It's just a path.
yeah.
It's a path.
I mean, because what's worst case scenario, if it doesn't
We
go
have a
through
path.
and then you create that path going up to
Right,
the
right.
thing, like
Yeah.
that would probably be,
Well, that,
like,
yeah, we could do it there and then at some point, we're gonna have to do some kind of ADA
right.
path.
Right.
Correct,
right.
and even on the other side
Yeah.
too, so
Right.
like you can put a path in on that side, so I think worst case scenario, probably as a group, figure out where to place the bricks, I mean, it's worst case
Yeah.
scenario if we're starting, but I do agree with Susan, is that we kind of have like that opportunity to not lose some of those
Right.
nostalgic senior parents right now that would probably, and yeah, we're not talking a ton of money, but like say like 50 of them, hey, that's,
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is chunk
something
of
that,
change.
that a
We
lot
could
of
do- we could-
alumni would like to do too. you know,
Absolutely,
it's-
yeah.
I mean, for years, you know.
We could do
Some
the
years ago.
walkway up by the ticket booth, and then we could do a little path over to the visitors bleachers ramp,
Right.
Right.
right, from the track to the ramp, there's grass there. So you can do a path there, and then we'll refigure over by the concession, how we
Right.
get people down to that ramp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really have to have a plan until we have a plan, you know?
Right.
I can store the bricks in the back of the banner, that's not, if we have to.
Well, do you have to
put
order
squares and
them
stuff.
yet? I mean, when do you have to order them?
I don't know,
Yeah.
I'll pull all that information up
So,
and be more prepared
Yeah,
the
so
next time.
hopefully, that'll be I think our group's recommendation is to have,
Yeah.
you know, see if we can get this on the agenda for the next MAU meeting. Is there an April meeting with the April break? or-
April
Yes,
10th.
April
Oh,
10th,
sure.
so
Okay.
yeah,
All right, so if
I'll
we
get
need,
with Stephanie,
yeah, if you could get that. and
we're
get it on the
meeting
agenda.
Wednesday anyways.
Let me know if I need to attend.
Okay.
I'm hoping I don't have to, but if I need to, I will. And then the last question we had is, what about naming rights? You know, i.e., we're never gonna change the name of Spinelli Field, but we said, what if, you know, there was someone wanted to make a very large donation, it would be, you know, insert name here, athletic complex at Spinelli Field, you know, or at Spinelli, or at Zimianic Track, you know. It said, if the board is interested in that idea, you know, there really should be a naming policy. And as you guys know as board members, how difficult it is to get a policy approved through and how long it takes. So I don't know if there is a naming, but I don't think there is one
No, I don't think there is one either.
for something like seeking a monetary donation for a naming
You
policy.
could even do like the concession stand, like that could
Yeah,
come
I-
out.
Yeah, I mean, Again, what's the, I think that that process would have to be, you know, what's the policy, you know, I don't know, I don't even know the process for putting a new policy in place, so
That's a process.
I think
Yes.
it's a process.
it'd probably take a full
But-
year just to get.
But we've named two things without the policy, so
Well, I think this would be for a donation,
For donations.
right? Like this is like a.
oh, those weren't monetary
Or seeking like a
donations, so yeah.
sponsor
sponsor.
for a naming rights. So if, you know, Xfinity, you know, yeah, not that you would take I don't think you'd put a corporate name on there, but if there was a policy, you know, is that part of the policy? Is it a corporate name?
How did Kate's Gym become Kate's Gym?
Kate died.
Yeah, it's Kate's, Spinelli.
Was there any sort of like,
I think it was just the local sentiment after. So there was,
did they pay, like, that's what I'm saying, like, did they pay for, like, was there any sort of monetary?
No, the school was just opening, you know, the history behind it, you know, the
Mm.
school, Mount Anthony was just opening and several local administrators, Spinelli, Cates, Walker and Morgan all passed away in a plane. Right as the school was opening.
Gotcha,
Because
gotcha.
our auditorium, not many people know, is the Walker Morgan Auditorium,
Oh,
Cates Gym and Spinelli Field. So they were the four in the
that makes sense.
plane.
So
That's
when
what happens
when
when
Robert
you-
Kraft donates a lot of money to Spinelli, we can call the
The craft,
Spinelli Field donated by Robert Kraft.
yeah, or sure, the craft athletic complex. Again, you know, not people not knowing this, because we would never take away a name, we never want to rename.
No, I
No, I know
completely
that.
agree with that.
But I think,
I was just curious.
I just, a monetary donation, there would probably have to be some policy in place about, you know, how
Set
long is it in
amount, too.
place, you know, what's the amount? I don't know. So I don't know if we go down that route or not, you know, if someone's willing to say, you know, I want to pay for the whole project, you know.
It depends on how much.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much are they willing, and then we
I-
determine if it's worth our time,
I
worth
don't
the
wanna
stress, yeah.
I don't know if we're wasting time with it, but I know it was a question that was asked,
Mhm.
legal answered it. And they said, if interested in this idea, there should be a naming policy, which, as you know, it takes time to get a policy approved and.
Especially since we don't have any committees assigned yet, so.
Yeah, so those are the questions we asked of Jim, I think, at the last meeting, and those were the responses, so. All right. So option 5 was, and I think we just covered it, recommendations to MAU, or excuse me, item 5 was recommendations to the MAU board for possible action. So that was, are there any other things that we need from the MAU board to take
So right
action?
now, we're just asking the board for, to allow us to fundraise.
Yes.
That's the only thing we're asking now.
To seek donations, I would say seek donations and
donations.
fundraise.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's different for me than going to ask somebody for a donation versus us doing a project to donate.
Do they need to know our specific, like, do we need to get like approval for the specific brick fundraiser, or are we just leaving it generic?
I think we should
that's-
just leave it
That's
generic.
a discussion for you guys.
I mean, if they
think at
ask,
your level.
I can
Um,
bring it with me.
I think any fundraiser would be good,
I agree.
you know, so.
Well, I think too, we have to bring up the fact that we're gonna
we
open
do-
it up for donations as well.
I mean, we do have a fundraising policy on file. I don't know how it works for non-athletics. I'm assuming clubs follow the same policy. But I think that would be the reference to it. You
Okay.
always have to state like your goal and how much you're trying to raise.
$5 million.
Bricks.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of things.
Yeah, well,
Um,
Yeah, we'll build the building out of the bricks too.
Do we need to take any action for us to begin town halls?
That's what I was
So that
just
was my
gonna
next
ask.
step too. So next steps for the committee, I was gonna say we should probably, you know, I don't know if it's ambitious to hold a meeting in May, maybe June, you know, in the Blue Seats. And maybe a second one
I
in
wouldn't
the
wait.
summer up
I
on
wouldn't
field.
wait.
Yeah,
We
so,
just had the survey,
yeah, so,
you know, we
What's
just.
the blue seats?
the auditorium, I'm sorry, let's teacher speak, my bad. I apologize.
Yes, I almost had two.
The high school auditorium.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget about building norms. The high school auditorium.
And non-MAU
Yes.
growing up people too.
Yes, yeah.
I think we try to plan for May
Okay.
inside in the blue seats.
Yeah,
I mean, and then I think that.
Putting the survey together took me longer than I thought, and then
Yeah.
Katie did a lot.
But
of
it's
work.
but it's okay to say in May, maybe have a town hall, and if the weather
Take them out.
cooperates, we
Take
can go
'em
for a
out.
walkout.
Yeah, I think we should definitely sooner rather than later, just to get information out to people and then have a follow-up second one over the summer, and we plan on that one starting and just staying
Yeah.
outdoors,
Mhm.
so people can see the field, see the
Yep.
track.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if there's a way to incentivize people to come.
We should do it when it's raining out so they can
Yes,
see that huge
yes.
puddle by the
Or we just
soccer.
keep taking pictures.
Uh,
Put it up on the screen.
I don't know if people have ideas, if we could incentivize, you know,
Barbecue.
well, I don't know about that, you know, but
I can cook.
yeah, okay.
I'll do
I
it.
was thinking, you know, maybe we do a door prize, you know, everyone gets a raffle ticket and they walk through and they get a gift card or
They-
something and.
Or they get like MAU gear or something.
Yeah, so I wanna get people to turn out, not just parents, not just the same people show up for every meeting, unfortunately. Is there a way to incentivize? Yes,
If we had a youth game and youth cheerleaders, that always brings parents.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, start, and then we could have, you know,
Maybe we could do it, you know, the night after, you know, if there's, I know it's not the sports that would be playing up there, but if there's a day where baseball, softball, lacrosse all have games and the meetings right after, parking would probably be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But, you know, we could find a way to, I agree, maybe somehow on campus, get people to come. But, you know, like you said, swag, giving away free stuff,
Booster Club could have their concessions.
Yeah.
something, yeah, I think, I think these are all good ideas. We gotta do something to
I agree,
incentivize
though.
people to show up.
Yeah.
And,
I think we have to have like the town hall either before or after the game though, but I mean, you probably wanna do it before,
Cause after the game,
because
everybody.
everyone's gonna leave after the.
yeah, well,
Just
unfortunately, the
remember,
baseball
we're in
games
the
are,
spring and we
yeah,
can't
spring,
use the lights.
yeah, spring
so-
games are all 4:30.
Right, so they're they're 4:30, and so like if we did it like, see, that's tough too though, because
people who
people
work.
work, they're
Yeah,
not
no,
gonna
I
be able to
know,
get
so you,
Exactly.
it's tough, I agree.
Have it on the weekend.
Maybe,
I think people would be snarky and salty about giving up their weekend for something like this. I really think it needs to be kept during the week.
One thing we're bringing back this year is the ex-coach, Coach Mullins, is doing a youth program for track for 4 Mondays in May, but it's not a big deal. But the 5th and 6th grade track meet is coming back, so that draws a lot of people to that event. We have it scheduled for the 25th, rain date the 26th, but it's early in the day. You're talking 11:30 to 3, but we get hundreds of kids, people, boom, in the bleachers, running around the track.
I still think you've got to do it after 5.
Yeah,
I agree, but I'm
that's-
saying,
that's
but
tough
with
with
Mr.
the town hall.
Frederickson's point.
So both of our girls and guys lacrosse games on senior nights are gonna be on Spinelli.
Oh, they are this year?
Woohoo.
They are. Yeah.
What is that?
Yay.
So that would be sometime in June, probably, or May, or end of May. Yeah, use it right before Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can find some time.
Don't worry, it's not.
I don't know if we want to do it before one of those games. It's tough. I see, you know, the senior parents are setting up the field for senior night.
Yeah.
Those players can't go. I like the idea of trying to tie it to another event to piggyback off a crowd, but I think maybe we could do other things. Maybe we could talk to a couple of businesses like restaurants and say, hey, can you throw us a $25 gift card? We do some door prizes. We do some.
I bet you Matt Willie would do something for
Yeah,
those.
I think if we talk to,
Madison.
You know who
Yeah.
will do it? The new Philly cheesesteak guy, I
Yeah.
did talk to him about it. I talked to him, he'll give us anything we want. He also wants to get all photos of like MAU athletics in the place and take down. I told him he had to take down all the Eagles shit.
okay.
And he said, I said, you're better off just having photos of all
Local
our
sports.
local sports from our high
So-
school.
So then, do we want to try to set a date today?
How far out do we wanna do this, May? Is
That's
that-
what I mean, it's May, but do we want to,
Careful Memorial Day weekend.
yeah. Do we want to set a date now?
Is this for the town, the open blue seats?
Or
the auditorium?
auditorium, town hall meeting style. And again, I think I'll need help because you mentioned people I don't know if they can
Is
attend.
all welcome, or is it like
I-
invite only, or what?
No,
how's
I
that
think it
look?
would be open to the community, but maybe us as board members would be on the stage and we would have other individuals that would be maybe on the stage to answer questions for us.
I can't do the end of May
Yeah.
because I'm going on a
Have-
sixth grade trip. to
Have the,
Shaftesbury.
you see, you know what I'm saying, like,
Have a
have-
panel, we can decide who we wanna have on the panel.
Well, I
first,
think
right?
also, I think it'd be a great opportunity to include other coaches at the
Yep.
school too.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Soccer coaches,
Yes.
lacrosse coaches,
Yep.
anyone.
Really
Right, they can all be, I think they
Even
all
gym
should,
teachers. for
they
that
should
matter.
all be like in the front row and,
Yeah.
feel, and let them
Yeah,
comment.
yeah, yeah.
Right, but the panel should be the people
So-
that we want to speak.
not to make tonight go crazy, but how about we do two things? We schedule an April meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
To discuss the May date.
Yeah.
And May plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, we can try to set the May date now.
I think we should try to set the May date so we can
Agreed.
get it out
Get some
earlier.
advertising
yeah.
Well, I think you just
But I
did
don't
that,
think we
Chris.
need to hash out.
Don't
Right,
lose that-
agenda, yeah,
I
yeah.
think don't lose the momentum. You had that, because that was, when was that, like 2 months ago? I didn't remember.
What?
But we also gonna have to
The
look
survey,
at-
It was
yeah.
last month. It's been over a
So
month
we
and
need
a
to
half.
keep the,
May 10th was the last day we had it. So, do we want to do early May then? And
I'm gonna pull up the,
I just think the longer we, every time, all I think about my
sports
price tag,
schedule?
everything
I
keeps
just-
going up.
To
I think what that gentleman said, it's went up 30%.
and I wanna pull that up, so it's not,
It's gonna be,
you're gonna want those parents there.
no, I know, but it's like on my side, we have something every single day somewhere, so.
What do we, is
Just my
No, we're looking at setting the date of the first town hall
I
in
have it
May.
scheduled.
But like, if it's an away game, but there's
Yeah.
probably still a home game.
I don't think any of the awards nights are in May. I haven't seen those dates yet either, but
They will be in May, they're always in May.
I know, isn't the senior one's gonna be the right before graduation, right? Senior awards night.
It's like 2 weeks ago.
Be my magnifying
Oh
glass.
my goodness.
The underclass awards is probably gonna be like that week of the 23rd through the
I think that's in
26th.
May, yeah, that's.
Yeah, and then-
Correctly.
I haven't seen official dates.
Alright,
right
I've
now.
got it up.
So we probably want to avoid that.
We got something every day in May.
I got something every day, every day.
Dude.
We have.
What about that day? What? No, they were just joking.
We'll do it on Cinco de Mayo.
Honestly,
Free
Jen,
tacos.
what are you looking at? I mean,
Yeah.
I've got, like, this is
What number shows up the least? Or what day shows up the least?
Sundays.
No,
Honestly, it's,
yeah, it's gonna be, I mean, I'm not gonna,
May's gonna be hard.
yeah.
I mean, we might have to do a Sunday evening.
I don't,
That would be tough, but
getting,
If that's the case, why don't we look at late April? What if we do something then, because if that avoids.
yeah,
May
April's just.
unfortunately, spring sports is so compact
Spring-
because of the weather.
Spring starts.
it
spring
starts next week
Monday.
and it doesn't
And
stop.
the only
so-
thing I can't guarantee is, again, if I have to move stuff, which is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with spring
You know,
sports is very condensed, it's 8 weeks. and it's
While
just-
it would be ideal to host it at the high school, there are other options.
Yeah.
We don't have to have it at the high school.
Yeah, but
No,
we
I don't
wanna
think
be
it's
able
so
to
much that is it being at the high school, because I think you could still have it at the high school even if you have a sporting event going on. It's
I
that
think with,
Yeah,
you
what are we-
want,
what are
you
we
want
worried-
parents to be
Yeah,
able to
what are we
go.
worried about?
well, no, I think my thought is if spring sports, if we schedule it at 6 p.m. or maybe 7 p.m.
Yeah,
Lacrosse JV might still be going on, but the baseball and softball, if there's a game, it would be over by 7 p.m.
That's true.
So if we say a 7 o'clock and we just pick
Yeah,
a
it's
day
It's light
in
up 8 o'clock
mid-May,
by then.
So
Yeah, I
so,
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what day of the
Why
week is
can't we turn
better.
the lights
Then
on?
we can turn the lights on and we can throw some lacrosse balls at all the parents.
Well, are we gonna, in this main meeting, I mean, again, I
Yeah.
don't know if we're gonna get up on Spinelli, we
Yeah.
might,
Oh,
but
okay. Well,
And I think we want kids there too. I think we want
I'm
students.
looking at my schedule and it's.
so let's pick a date.
Pick a date.
So what day of the week do you think is better? Tuesday,
play
Wednesday, Thursday?
Under
Because
the
there's no
lights.
lights.
You think I avoid Mondays and Fridays?
Right.
I would say Tuesdays.
Tuesday was my,
All right, how about May 9th? That's a Tuesday. Is that too early, too late?
I won't be
wait a
able,
minute, wait a minute.
You have a track meet?
yeah.
I might
Okay.
be.
Don't base it off me.
No, I-
Thursdays are the best day for me. That's my basically Tuesday, Wednesdays are toast,
Those are all track meets?
for the most part.
Baseball, softball are away
So-
that day.
Okay, yep, I'm away
What's lacrosse
JV.
doing?
eighteenth through the 24th, so.
So keep it off that.
JV softball is home.
Middle school baseball and softball are home.
No lacrosse that day?
No lacrosse that day on.
What day is this?
5/9. As of
And
now.
free.
What about the 10th?
Wednesday the 10th? It's not the third Wednesday, so MAU wouldn't have a meeting.
10th, we're all away except for boys tennis this home.
Okay, 11th?
So then lacrosse is away?
There's no
No
lacrosse that day.
And you have no track that day?
The 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got interesting. It's not the
11th,
parents we have to
everything's
convince,
away.
it's everybody else.
No,
Like,
I agree,
So
I
that's,
agree.
I think that's the biggest
So
thing we kind of need to.
That's kind of my point too.
That's true too.
The parents of the athletes, they're already.
We just gotta get them, we gotta get them out the
It's the
vote.
Just
other
gotta get them to
people,
vote.
if you go back, to what was
Yeah, that's the
interesting,
key.
where was my goal?
And again, I know we talked about that, mentioned this last time when we originally did it, like, and we need to make sure it happens because I think we have to have every kid suited up and standing at
The people that didn't.
spread out all across the board.
Retired people, 0%. I think they're the people you gotta target, because they're the people that probably most interested in their taxes going up. So we have to convince them why we do this. The kids, athletes, their parents, they're on, they get it. Like, we chat, we coach here, they go, so we have to hit a demographic that we need their support. So how do we get them to come to the field? How do we invite them?
Then we don't have it at 7:00.
No, that's what I'm saying, or,
That's the problem too, right? With the-
Yeah, and I know
If there's no home
Come
games on
on,
the
that's all
10th,
people go out after
there's nothing,
7.
if there's no home games on the 10th, we wanna tentatively just say 6 PM on May 10th.
That sounds good.
That's
And then
good.
we'll try to get the auditorium 6 PM on May 10th.
That
Yeah.
sounds good.
And then we have
Just have
roughly,
to check with Amber.
yep, we have roughly 2 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a month and a
Let's
half
do
to
it.
prepare.
Yeah, because we gotta be aware drama's doing some stuff this spring too, so we just gotta make sure that
Yep.
it's available.
Yeah,
Oh, that's gonna be another issue, the steps.
are they still doing it?
In the spring.
I thought there's still a lot, there's concerts, there's
Okay, I'll check with.
what about something like this too, just this,
sorry, there's a lot of moving
Yep.
parts, guys,
Like,
going on.
we wanna reach people, you got Make Fest, you have thousands of people, like, what if we set up, I just got a text, like,
Yeah.
a Make Fest booth where we had an informational meeting available to hand out or talk or chat, use that as an open forum, you have.
My BBC president hat on, hold on.
Oh.
There we go, yeah,
Well, no,
sure.
because you have, it's a great
Well, the
opportunity to.
BBC charges for booths,
No, I'm the president, I really am.
so
But you're in front of
that's
so
one
many
reason why the
different
football team no
people
longer does the
that
dunk.
you,
Yeah.
that might not even know anything that's going on about
Talk
this,
to
it gives us
Jenny,
an
we will.
opportunity.
Okay.
You bring a piece of the turf field, you bring a piece of the grass field, you lay out there, I
Bring
don't
the
know.
bricks.
You bring the bricks,
Can I tell you guys though, after playing and coaching on turf fields, the sample field looks nothing
Yeah, I
like
agree with
real.
that.
And that is kind of, even for me, looking at that, you know, it's not, we gotta make.
I still have it in my office. You mean you don't want it?
It is very,
There's a
I
lot
like
of
the idea
events
of
too.
a, informational booth at Mayfest.
I like it too.
That's
You
it,
guys
I mean,
volunteering to work it?
I'm not here working it.
I
have
just
to work
think
it
we
anyway,
need
so-
to maybe look at different Bennington events that happen,
I-
Brew Fest, I'm not being, I just saw this, maybe we're hitting
It's Memorial Day weekend.
the different, we need to hit different venues and where people go out to
Baseball
gather.
at some point.
Yeah.
We've got Brew Fest, we've got,
Okay.
the Winter Home Brew Fest is coming up.
It's like this, that's tomorrow, this Saturday.
What do we want?
Are they doing the car thing where they're shutting down the street
Yes.
again?
There you go, there, bingo, guess who go, a lot of older people go that, you wanna make a splash, there
They're
you
not as
go.
many as last year, I think there's only,
But now you're getting to, you're targeting the audience that knows nothing about, they only know what they know.
Yeah.
no.
We don't need to convince the athletes. We don't need to convince their parents. We need to flip the script and go after the people we need to get on our side. Not our side, I don't mean that, sorry. to just make them aware of like why we're doing this.
Give them the information they need.
Yes, thank you.
Benefits, reinvesting in the
Yes.
community.
The next,
Yeah, you read, yeah.
Chad, Chad.
well, no, I'm just trying to kind of stay on,
ABC,
stay on
chamber, I mean,
track.
you're all,
Um,
like, just like,
I think,
I don't know.
what, for our meeting in May and other informational meetings, it'd be very helpful to have, hey, I can't stay, a pamphlet, you know, or something,
Yeah.
talking
Yeah, I was
points
just
at
gonna say,
the
I think
meeting.
we need a one-sheeter or
So
something.
this might be
Quick.
something we develop in our April meetings.
Like
That's-
again, answers to frequently asked
Yeah,
questions
right.
Yeah.
concerning.
So,
Is there a way to
The
have like a
complex
tent
upgrade.
at the Mayfest? Can we have a tent like with a video, like people saw, like, people today they don't wanna like, they wanna chat, but they wanna see. They're visual people. We live on our
We
phones, you
can
know?
use the banner, office, which is right there on Main Street, you got the booth set up right in front of the banner office. We do have a television, it's smart TV inside that we can hook anything up to.
You know what I'm saying? So we show a picture like that on the sideline of
Happy to
that.
use the
This is what it
office.
could be, a project, a potential, the bricks. You spell it all out, you show it. People are visual people, they
I
need to see
help,
it.
I couldn't do it all by myself.
April, when can we meet?
April?
April
Avoid
break.
Wednesdays.
So
Yeah,
April break for school is the 17th to the 22nd.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm out of
Me
town,
either.
so, I will not attend.
Damn spring sports.
So, either,
Right? Spring break?
Little
the
league.
17th to the
17th or the
21st.
21st, so,
Hey, I moved that second
I
Saturday.
mean, if we could-
I don't know if we wanna meet before that, April
At
13th.
least
I think we should.
after
Yeah.
the week.
At the 13th or the work, or the 11th.
I gotta check my calendar, I know I put something on that. But I think the 13th, April 13th might work for me, does that work for others?
Yeah.
I'll have to look at my calendar, but I'm sure, at what time?
When is the
Does
Mayfest?
the
What
six
are we
P
looking
M
at?
work, or do people wanna
The
meet
weekend of
earlier?
Memorial
Like,
Day
I
is
throw 6
Saturday.
P M.
What day is the week?
It's a Thursday.
Go a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I don't mind going
I
Friday.
can't
So the
meet
27th.
earlier than 6.
Oh, okay, all right.
I play tennis from 4
That's fine. As long as we have a clear agenda, we're all right.
I think our only agenda, we can set it now for the 13th, would be to develop
Talking.
talking points or an agenda for our May open house, like our town meeting. I don't wanna just be up there and not have anything to, deal with, like we should have a script for that night, so I think it's developing that
Well, and
night.
again, we have to have the answers for those frequently asked
Yeah.
questions that are gonna come up, that we know are gonna come up.
Dave, you actually gave me those questions at the basketball game, those were good frequently asked questions that a lot of people from the public ask, so I don't know if you still have that, no? Okay, I think I might, that's all right, I might still have it, so I'll look and see, those were, those, again, we gotta develop those questions or those answers. And then any people that we'd want to invite to either be like in the front row to maybe answer those expert
Right.
opinions.
So can we maybe do it like we did the questions, maybe we could get an email going around that has frequently asked questions and- or email them to Chad, what we think, and we can put them together from there.
Okay.
And we can, I know Adam Samaroff has a ton of crappy photos of Spinelli that we can put in, right?
Mm.
I mean, we used one in the paper for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story, and that was a great visual.
Yeah, there's
You know.
several of the track recently.
So I
Yeah.
just said with the chat about, I mean, we're hosting 2 track meets, and 7 we can't use because it's.
Yeah.
With the visitors.
It's actually, it would be-
So
it's, if you saw the picture, I mean, it's
Yeah.
ripping up, it's not good.
It's horrible.
I don't wanna bring this up because I hate
Here it
this
is.
topic,
It's on
but
the screen. I can't.
do we need to have somebody to address the whole, cause you know what's coming up. You
Right.
know they're gonna ask the question
Ah.
about the PFOA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
So-
need to have somebody
Yeah,
there.
no, I don't know if we need to have someone there or just have, exactly what Andrew Dijak said.
I think it'd be better if we could have somebody,
Well, what about
agree.
Peter Janellis?
Peter might be the one to speak to it because I
Yeah.
know, those guys work for a company.
Right.
And they're gonna only put in so much work that they, and rightfully so, like, they don't know that this is
do
gonna be
we
their
have
job or
somebody
not.
though that's neutral on this project?
Yeah.
That, just from that standpoint, I mean, when you talk about that, you're gonna have,
Our newsroom is completely behind this project and they're in favor of it, so,
But yeah, you're talking like a medical expert.
yeah, I'm just saying,
You know, there was the
with
chemist
somebody
that worked
like
You
with
almost
them,
need, you
but
almost
he's
need a
been,
chemist
you know,
that understands. That's not a part of it,
You're not
but
gonna get anyone that's
understands
not
it.
gonna come, that's not getting
But it's
paid.
just like a court, it's like a courtroom,
Yeah.
you know, you get your expert, you can find an expert to say whatever you want them to say, so both sides
If the
are gonna find their own expert.
If somebody donated $5 million, would the PFOAs be a problem? And the turf field just happened? I'm serious. No, I'm just, would that be,
There would still be some people that.
There will still be some people.
but let me ask you this hypothetically, would the projects happen? Because if
Yeah,
somebody.
we have the money, the project's happening.
Unless somebody really.
BBA's getting their
I'm
second
just
field,
gonna
they
say,
have the
Chad,
money.
you know where I was going with that, BBA is getting a second
Chuck,
turf
one more
field.
thing is once, which I'm confident that we're gonna get board approval for us to seek donations. But I think that once we get that we really need to put a very well-written letter together, and then we can reach out to some of the bigger folks. Jen and I had an idea.
Well,
Is anybody
Even the new.
want to reach out to
Yeah.
Dr. Scheidenbauer or Dr.
Sure.
Dutton.
I mean, they're
Yeah,
my
if you wanna
doctors.
maybe draft a letter, we could maybe look at it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Or even before, I don't know if we need, I think, we don't, I mean, do we fall under public meeting law stuff? Do we have to, like, if we drafted an email, do we have to approve that
If it's
letter?
just two of you, I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't know if we, I think if we have, again, I think maybe we have that letter as part of your package at the MAU meeting, and that this letter is approved by the board to go out to the public. Maybe
Okay.
that's the way to go, that the board approves
Yeah,
that letter.
I think
If
so
we
too.
draft that,
And
that
the
way
letter's
MAU
going out
board
to whom?
has seen it and agrees with it. That might be the way to go.
We can do it a couple of different ways, but I think that initially, we take that letter and maybe one or two of us go visit a few big players in town.
No, but I guess my question is the letter for donations?
Yes.
Okay.
Have we ever approached the hospital for donations?
Well, that would
I
be
think,
certainly
again,
one of them.
If the
That'd be
MAU
one of
board
the big
approves it,
If they do
then-
approve it, so my thought was that I would get with the marketing and communications person to get me to the doctors, and that would be my
I think there are
wedge in.
several businesses and industry in this community that would they pay for the whole project
Yeah.
by themselves? Who knows, maybe, but they might give us a chunk where we get a percentage. And I think,
I like your idea of approaching the developer for the
Well-
resort
well,
too.
that's one
That's
possibility.
one, yeah. I have
There's,
it
I
in
think
there.
there's others.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, so I
Read that
think
Wall
there's
Street.
several people that would be willing to maybe give something.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's a community-based project and
Because making our community
Serious.
better will only make their resort more
You're
successful.
saying it's gonna be like,
And they're taking
like
away some
Lambeau
athletic
Field,
fields.
everybody owns a piece of Lambeau
yeah,
Field.
it's
And-
publicly good, yeah.
Yes.
If we can get the tournaments that we want, then we're gonna, maybe they'll get some people staying
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot.
Right.
So,
Oh,
just to recap, we're, dates, I wanna make sure we have these, because I have to ask Amy about getting this room. April. We said
April 13th.
April 13th,
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay.
If there's no,
I'm good that day.
I don't think
April
there is. I
13th,
think our
6
first
p.m.
one's the
and-
14th.
It's a couple days, weeks from now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks. It's like literally 2 weeks from today. So it's not much time. And then we're looking at May 10th, we said, for a auditorium town hall.
Is that, what is that, what night?
That's a Wednesday.
All right, good. I don't have baseball on Wednesday.
Okay. All right, any other?
So on the April 13th, we're gonna kind of preset what we want, we need to control the narrative on May 10th, we can't let it get out, is that
Yeah,
what kind of what I go through
yes,
that?
I
Like-
really don't want it to turn into a he said, she said.
Right, that's
And
what
we
I'm saying.
also, I mean, we just don't need public, I don't even know if we need public comment, we'll have some public comments. We wanna ask questions.
Questions, yeah.
But I think we need to make sure we set a time and we set maybe,
So we're gonna advertise in the banner,
I don't know,
right? The
yeah,
people that have mic
yeah.
name or whatever.
we gotta
through,
advertise it and,
Put it all over Facebook too.
Facebook, wherever.
Oh, yeah.
but we have to, keep it civil and have it, not turn into.
So are we gonna do a question and answer though?
I think we should.
Because that's what a town hall is, really.
Yeah, I
We
think,
should,
I think we
and-
should keep it like the select
By
board
the
does,
way,
limit it to 3 minutes, you can't get up there and ask 20 questions,
It's a straight informational.
Just informational, yeah, that's just.
I think we put some
These are-
information out there, but I think we would be, doing a disservice if we didn't listen to questions.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we give them opportunity to ask
No, we
questions.
need
But you
feedback.
set
We need
aside
feedback.
a
Set a time limit.
specific,
Yeah.
not after each thing that
Yep.
we're trying to talk about, but
When we did the Act 46 thing, right?
Yeah.
We did the town hall, and we had like information that was spelled out, and then we waited for questions and we addressed the questions that concern us.
I know, I think, yeah, we'll get to the next meeting about what we're gonna.
You know, unless the first meeting that we do, the first town hall, we ask them to mail in their questions, so we have the proper people there to answer the questions.
I see, we're in a short window. It's like,
Yeah.
so my thought was if we have questions from people, like most select boards, even the school board does, if they have questions we don't have answers to,
We
let's
just
take
get
your
back to them.
information,
Yeah.
we'll get back to you. We'll also try to answer these questions at our July.
I think
And we did get the results for the
Technical.
yeah.
So we have
Did
that.
we? Oh, that's what I'm.
Have you even started yet?
So
No,
I
we
heard
didn't do
from,
it. They won't do
no, but I thought I heard from Holly.
Because I tried to reach out to them and basically, I don't think they're gonna do it unless they know they're getting the prize.
I don't wanna, I don't wanna.
We said we were gonna pay for it.
I know.
No, but
I know.
I spoke to Holly recently, and I believe she said they found old designs and old drawings for Spinelli, and it included the geotechnical.
Oh.
So it doesn't have change.
These are gonna change over time.
So,
I'm no
I don't know.
geologist.
I know. That's really
yeah, we keep doing that.
here and then.
I don't know, so I
No,
don't
we
wanna
found,
say-
we found the old we found the old drainage.
But we
plans.
got
That's what
that
we
money approved though to do
Yeah.
this.
Right, and
There has
that
to be a
group
company.
made the point of saying,
Right.
we don't have to do the project right
Correct.
now, you
They
can
sure
do
did.
it now, and then you can,
Right.
whenever you decide to do it, they're
Yeah.
still gonna.
So I guess that's a question, but we have to get answered from Holly.
Because isn't
So
there money put
that's-
aside for
We don't
that?
have to get it from Holly.
that
If
money
you want me to
into the
get them on board to do it, I will try to get them there to do it.
Because that was the
Well,
permits
I think we have to
and
do
then
an
the
We have to follow, that's a lot of money, so we'd have to follow, we can't just have them,
RFP.
yeah, we'd have to
Right.
put a request for proposal and have the board approve.
for the 50,000. We have,
What you approve spending it, but I think I don't know the process for.
We have, anything over 10,000, we have to do an RFP.
yeah, but we got approval to spend it.
Spend the
yes.
money.
But if
Spend
they
no
already
more
had
than, I think
They
we're up
take
to,
that
yeah, so.
Right, Renee? Or anything over 10,000?
We can request whatever we want. It's awarding the contract would require board action.
Okay.
But if they already had one from years ago, if we can use that, we could save.
I don't know, that's the
That,
question.
I guess we'd have to
Yeah.
find out if that's actually.
We found drainage plants. There's no.
I might have, I might have been
There's no-
mistaken.
Not that I know of.
So, all right. We good?
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna think about frequently asked questions and email them to you too.
Yes.
And by the
Yeah,
way,
that's
Tim
one.
Payne said, he texted me and Paul, and probably some of you too, but he said he'd be more than happy to help with the town halls.
All right, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
And maybe when we're emailing, we maybe should think of people who we want to put on a panel, like definitely somebody from.
I think we have, people on stage, and like you said, some people in the front row that we
Yeah.
can, hey, I'm not the expert, but let's pull up.
Yeah, let's pull up an
I
expert.
think our.
But I also think you don't want to just stack the deck. I think you have to have people there on that maybe have questions. I think you don't want to,
Yeah.
I think that, the reason I have a town hall is to get good, bad, and different questions. You can't just stack the deck to our
No,
favor. I
No,
don't think
but I
that's
think you
fair.
have those people that can answer the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that, but I
We just want the people, to
Yeah, we
answer
just
the
want people
question.
who
No,
can.
okay.
Someone asked me about PFOA, I can tell you what it is, but I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh, no, we're not
You know what I
experts.
mean? I'm not a chemist.
so we're just over an hour, so I'm cognizant of this time. If we'll adjourn for the night, we don't need a vote for that, right? We're just the committee. All right, thank you guys. Thank you, Cat
Thanks,
TV for broadcasting and being here, Cat TV.
Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.